Okay, welcome everybody to a class on performative verbs. In the first advanced grammar course, I only mentioned very briefly performative verbs once, I think. And so in this course, we will go through them in greater detail. And the reason why they're important is that with these verbs, we nearly always use present simple, even though we are performing the action when we say them. Yeah, and so when you say, I promise that I will do my homework, when you say I promise, you make the promise when you say I promise. You perform the promise. So promise is a performative verb for this reason. And this is why we don't say I am promising that. We never use present continuous really with promise. We always use present simple because we perform the verb when we say it. And with these performative verbs, we generally use present simple. Now, some of them you can use present continuous as well. You can say, I beg you. You can say, I'm begging you. So some you can use present continuous as well, but many of them you can't. It sounds strange to me to say, I am agreeing with you, or I am promising you. They both sound strange to me, okay? And that's why performative verbs are important. Remember stative verbs, and remember that we can't use stative verbs in continuous. Well, many of the performative verbs will sound very strange if you try to use present continuous, even though you are performing them now. It's true. Okay, so that's why we're going to focus on them. And we're also, I want you to notice that many of these performative verbs are reporting verbs. And so I will go through a few of the patterns that you see with these verbs, because that's very useful too. When you learn an English verb, you ought to learn immediately if it takes a gerund or a 2+ infinitive, or if it takes a person first, like advise somebody to do something. You need to learn those verb patterns. And so we will look at some of that as well today, because that's very useful too. And you always need to revise that kind of thing. So performative verbs for a native, and I'm not sure you'll be able to do this as a non-native, but if you can add the word hereby before the performative verb, that means it's a performative verb. I hereby promise, I hereby accept, I hereby concede, I hereby advise. If you can do that, that means it is a performative verb. You can't say I hereby see, or I hereby notice, or something like that. No, you can't do that. And that means they're not performative verbs. They're ordinary verbs, okay?